There's a special place in hell for Lieutenant Lee or whatever his name is. Maybe that's why um the Grim Reaper, possessed him because he realized how dark this man is. This is a quick disclaimer. If you haven't seen episode 13 and 14 of The Midnight Studio, please watch it before listening to this review. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another review on the Review Garden. The beginning of episode 13 pretty much, shows you what exactly happened that night and what exactly happened the night 3 years ago. So, um, episode 12, when her memory came back again, she realized there were three people in the car. So I'm like, okay, well, how is the prosecutor involved, right? Well, apparently the person who was driving was his son, and the person who is his son is Lieutenant Lee. And I guess not many people would figure that out because they don't have the same last name, right? Um, and even if they did, I don't think anybody would put that together because there are many last names that are common, right? So um, that's what's his name? Kiju realized when he went into the apartment. Um, and the apartment he went into apparently is Lieutenant Lee's because when he went in there were photos of him and his father, right? So what happened that night? The three of them were in the car. They were driving recklessly because he has a special father who, anytime he gets in trouble, the father comes to his rescue. So now he's driving recklessly. He hits the car. He hits the car of Bohm's parents, flips it over. He gets out of the car trying to call somebody, and I'm guessing it was her mom who like held on to his foot and he got scared, so he dropped his phone. But then the three of them got back in their car and um, drove off. So afterwards, um, you know, with the whole Kiju's uncle driving there as well, and he sees the girl, he tries to rescue her. He goes outside to go get, he goes outside to go try and get service, but then in the meantime, you know, young Lieutenant Lee, realizes that he forgot his phone, right? He dropped his phone. So now he drove back to get his phone, and that's when he hit Kiju's uncle. He hit Kiju's uncle and then threw him over the edge. So afterwards, he calls his dad and was like, "Oh, something just happened. Oh, it's nothing. I hit somebody." Like, he didn't even care. Even at a young age, he didn't even care. And you're telling me that this man is a cop? This man is a lieutenant? So apparently, um, since he was driving his father's car, so I guess the way that they silence the whole situation is by um is by one of the guys taking the blame. So he went to jail, and pretty much when they fast forwarded you to 3 years ago, the the one that went to jail, the other one was like, oh, he can't get married, he can't get a job, and apparently Lieutenant Lee didn't know that they were, um, asking his father for money. So his father was like, he's not giving them any more money. So they came to him to ask him for money now. And they were like, oh, well, he hasn't been able to do this since he took the blame for you. So Lieutenant Lee then concocted this whole thing. He's like, okay, well, my father has this vacation house that you can go rob as long as you have someone else to take the blame for you. So as you can have someone else to take the blame um for you, right? So that's when they pulled in the brother. um this whole thing, I'm just like, wow. And obviously he was planning on killing them all this time because he was like, oh, he should have just ran them over too that night. So he was just tired of them, and he he killed them that night and then let the other guy take the blame for it. So the guy that he killed at the end of episode 12 is because it was under his name that the vacation house was at, right? And he was there that night and he saw him. And instead of being smart about it, he goes to Lieutenant Lee and was like, I saw you there that night. So you need to give me some money. And he was like, oh, yeah? Sure. And then he just started strangling him. And as he was doing that, the guy caught onto his face and started like scratching him. So he had to let go. And then that's when the Grim Reaper came in and was like, do you want me to finish it for you? And then just started strangling the guy until he died, right? And then he possessed him and was like, oh, let's not let anything get in our way. So I'm also assuming that it was Lieutenant Lee who told Kiju, who texted him through the other guy's phone and told him to meet him at this address, right? So he's like, well, now I have to kill you too. And like no remorse for um anybody that he killed. And I'm like, how exactly did you become a lieutenant? All because your father's a prosecutor and he just keeps cleaning up your messes? You're not even a good cop. Like it's so annoying. And like he was acting like he was very close to what's her name? To Bohm. He was acting like he was very close to Bohm. Like, does he know that it was her parents that he killed? Because now she's not going to be very forgiving to him. Or his daddy, right? So now he's like, oh, I have to kill you. So we're about to see what's going to happen now to Kiju. Episode 13 was mostly about, you know, um, since they already knew that Lieutenant Lee was at fault and Kiju had to go to the hospital, even though at the end of episode 12 he flatlined. He still didn't die. He had to get surgery. But as he was, in a coma or unconscious, his ghost came out, right? So he was trying to help in the sidelines, um, pretty much how to catch the lieutenant. And he's over here, he's like, oh, I'm taking charge of the case. So it was pretty much the next person down from him, that was questioning her, and getting more information. No matter how much they tried to, get evidence, since he's a cop, he pretty much backed himself up until they required the help of the other ghost, and they were able to make a breakthrough. So they were able to get videos of what happened. So what he did was, though, he went and took the body of the guy that he killed and put it in the studio, not the actual studio, but like in the shared space that Bohm and Kiju shared. And he put it on her that she was the one who killed the guy. So they arrested Bohm and they were questioning her. So the guy who's below Lieutenant Lee is the one who was questioning her. And then, he's like, hello, why don't you try to go look at the call logs of the dead guy and see if you see his number. So he did exactly that. He saw that the lieutenant was in fact calling the dead guy. So they went to the hospital to try and get him. And before that, he went to go, the lieutenant went to go see his father and, to try and be like, put her behind bars, set up the warrant, da da da. And he's like, don't tell me you killed again. Like, I can't believe I raised the murderer. You're on your own, da da da. So he started strangling his dad. Now, granted, it was actually, the Grim Reaper who possessed him, right? And strangling the father. But still, like, ungrateful and such a jerk. Like, for you to even try to kill your own father who's been, silencing people this whole time for you, right? So I'm just like, he was really like an unexpected villain. Like, you didn't really expect this to take this turn, and let alone for him to be the bad guy, in a bunch of different cases. I mean, that has to be the best, writing, because you didn't see it coming. And for him to even be related to the prosecutor, like, mind blowing. So I actually like that, that it came about this way, right? And then, so they pretty much cornered him on the rooftop after he kidnapped Bohm, because they let Bohm go, and then they went to the hospital to try and catch Lieutenant Lee, and then he was trying to escape, so he kidnapped Bohm, and then on the rooftop, pretty much, he he um he fell overboard. So, but the thing for me in that sense is that Kiju was a spirit on top of there, right? And he's been trying to like touch things, he's been trying to like grab things, but then as both of them are going over as both of them are falling from the rooftop, all of a sudden he's able to grab her hand and pull her up. And then after that, she pretty much um she was like hugging him, but then he disappeared. And then that's how episode 13 ended, right? And I'm like, you're not gonna run to his hospital bed just to see if he disappeared because he woke up or something? Because when she was headed to the hospital, it was 2 hours until his 36th birthday. Like, in the beginning, I thought it was that they didn't make it to 35. But apparently they live in 35. They just don't make it to 36. So any time within the 35 time frame, they'll pass away and just don't make it to 36. sometimes the subtitles can get pretty, confusing. So next episode we'll find out if he wakes up or not. Which I'm pretty sure he's probably gonna wake up. There's like 3 episodes left. Obviously, he should wake up. Um, Other things that happen in here is that Jiwon finally told Bohm that, you know, she had the cancer diagnosis and so on. She only told her because she was trying to like give her hope that Hiju was not going to die. Like, you know, like, you know, good luck is on her side because she had a scare and she came back better than before, right? The only thing that is pissing me off in this whole series is Detective Beck's wife. Like, I don't know. Like, that storyline could have just, I could have done without it. I could have done without it in this show because you have so much going on already. And I thought she would have been written off after she told him, to leave her, right? After she told Detective Beck's spirit to leave her alone. But no, in this episode, they bring her back again. Like, something happened with some guy, and he wanted to press charges against her. And then the other guy came to her rescue. The flower shop guy came to her rescue. And she's like, I like you, but I can't choose you right now. And I'm like, why is this even in here? Like, your husband died in the line of duty 3 freaking months ago. 3 months ago. And you're over here decide like you should be in mourning. Like, get the fuck out of here. Like, I don't even understand whole this whole thing. Like, and if you are, because all this is just making him into an evil spirit. When that thing happened to her, he was getting when she was at the police station with the other guy, he was getting mad. He was turning into an evil spirit. Like, I don't understand the point of it all. Like, this show would have gotten a 10 from me, but that whole, and it's not even secondary because the secondary love story is Jiwon's and Deputy Go's, right? Because Jiwon is Bohm's best friend. So I'll put theirs as a secondary. So that means this is a third, right? A third, quote, love story. It would have been better if that story was just, you know, her being in love with her husband. You already made this woman cheat. You already made this woman think of filing, this woman was gonna file a divorce, and now this man can't even like properly move on without, and like, I get it, he left her alone a lot of the time, but he was doing his job, which she told him to go do. So if you were feeling lonely, you should have just freaking told him your feelings. But no, you went after another guy, and then now this whole stupid story line is being thrown to us. I don't know, but I don't really care much about her and the flower dude. So I care more about Detective Beck and his feelings, okay? Because he's the, you know, not main, but like, he's the main character here, okay? Not her, really. So I'm really tired of seeing her love story with another dude that she cheated with. So far in episode 14, they it started with, I'm guessing, when he disappeared. He was able to go back to the studio and see his uncle. Not sure how that worked, but that's what happened. And they never really explained why the uncle stayed. Maybe I missed it or something. They didn't really explain how the uncle stayed in the netherworld for 20 years. And then it's now that he finally came to take the first photo and the second photo. But anyway, they said goodbye, and he was able to go back to his body. So she ran to his room, and then, he came walking in behind her. So that was cute. Um, Also, it's funny that he went through two major surgeries, and he's just walking like nothing happened. And apparently the Lieutenant Lee didn't die. He just broke a lot of bones, and he's in the hospital. So Kiju went to go see him, and he was like, the evil spirit is no longer with him. But he was like, you think that I'm gonna get in trouble? I'm not gonna get in trouble. My dad is never gonna leave. My dad is never gonna betray me or whatever. But he's like, yeah, okay, well, you were possessed by an evil spirit, so now good luck living the rest of your life. You're going to be seeing a lot more of them and being haunted by a lot more of them. So good luck with that, as he patted him on his body, making it hurt. And then he got discharged from the hospital, and she was asking him to change his contact on his phone, and he changed it to my boom. So she's like, I love that. And he's feeling all embarrassed because the other two ghosts are right next to him. But the ghost just walked right in between the two of them. And it seems like the safe zone disappeared. So he's now 36. He made it to 36. So the safe zone seems to be gone. So let's see what else is going to happen because of that. So I want to make a correction. So apparently they did have the same last name. So people were just not knowing. So part of what I said earlier. So their last name is common. So even with the same last name, it would be hard to figure out that it's father and son. So pretty much the father is catching a lot of flack. Like no one wants to pick up his phone call. So he told the press that he had no idea what his son was doing, and that he pretty much did everything on his own. So now the Lieutenant Lee was transferred to the detention center, and he's crying because his daddy won't come to his rescue. And I'm just like, did you really think he was gonna come to your rescue now, after it was made public, and after you just try to strangle him too? You just try to kill him? You think he was gonna come to your rescue? Come on. Come on. Cry me a river, dude. Cry me a river. And even till the end, he was trying to take his father down with him. But there was just this back and forth between the father and the son. The father saying, I didn't know anything about it. And then he's like, no. What about in 2003 when I did this? You should have done a better job um, at fixing the issue, right? Okay. So then Kiju released the audio tape. So that's how you know, both of them ended up going to jail for everything that happened 3 years ago. The while while Lieutenant G Lee was in jail, you know, the thing that Kiju told him came true. The all these evil spirits came at him and started hunting him while he was in prison. But you know, they shared the cells. So while it was at night and he was like screaming, right? So all the other inmates started beating on him because, you know, because he's screaming in the middle of the night and because he's a cop. But there's nothing that says for sure if he's dead now, but who knows? So also with Kiju, the fact that he made it to his 36th birthday and the three of them had a birthday party for him. I'm surprised that the Jiwon wasn't there for the birthday party. But the fact that he's 36, the you know, Detective Beck was trying to find the evil spirit, but he couldn't. And the thing, the scar that he had on his back started disappearing. So he's like, you know, and they weren't having any visitors. So he told the other two ghosts that it was almost time to go, like they need to go very soon. Um the So the detective Beck, he was like, you know, he's trying to leave sooner rather than later, and he finally came clean with, you know, Kiju that he's turning into an evil spirit. So he was like, it's best if it's just the two of them while he's trying to leave. The other one, Deputy Go, doesn't want to leave yet because he still hasn't crossed everything off his bucket list, and he's trying to go on a date with Jiwon. And he hasn't really told Jiwon that he has to leave yet, right? So, but there is something with Jiwon. She almost felt faint um, in this episode. So who knows what's going to happen to her. And while Detective Beck was leaving, um, he Kiju tried to use the camera, but he couldn't. So he had to So while he pressed the first button, it didn't work. And then all of a sudden, the evil spirit came into the studio. So that means like everybody's growing weaker. So as like they're all fighting, the evil spirit wants the camera. And I'm like, what exactly is he going to do with the camera? Is it because it was his camera to begin with? Is that why he's after the camera like that? So anyway, they started fighting. All three of them are fighting, and then it came to the point where Kiju was gonna open the door to the netherworld, but he couldn't. And then Beck and the evil spirit were fighting, and you know they were holding on to each other, and Beck like turned full evil spirit, and then that caused other the Grim Reaper to possess him. And then now those two that are together now go and attack Kiju. And Kiju is like, you know, they're fighting. And at some point, Kiju's on the floor with Beck on top of him. And he's like, remember how I died, right? So the way he died was he was stabbed. So he wanted Kiju to stab him so that it could get rid of the evil spirit. So, which is exactly what happened. The evil spirit went away, but we don't know if it went fully away. But Detective Beck, disappeared as well. And I'm like, what the hell is this shit? Is this that? Like, okay, what? These are the two ghosts that have been helping him that have been helping him from the beginning. Why couldn't they have a good send off? Why are we turning this? Why is this being turned into this type of thing? That's why Kiju started crying and was like, it shouldn't have happened that way, right? He should have. First of all, the way it should have happened was he was supposed to meet with his wife and both of them take a picture. She says goodbye. They both take a picture and then everybody moves on with their lives. He goes into the netherworld. Now you coming over here including this BS where you're like you have to stab him and then he disappears and he no longer goes into the netherworld. Like it makes no sense. Like why are we even doing that? It's not like he was a bad guy. He wasn't a bad guy. He was a cop. He was catching other bad guys. So why is this the end for him? I don't know. To me, it just doesn't make sense. Now, that's how episode 14 ended, where Kiju had to stab him and he disappears. And now, you know, Kiju's crying and saying that that's not how it was supposed to happen, which I totally agree. The end for Detective Beck shouldn't have been like that at all. And this wraps up our journey on the Review Garden. Thank you for joining me today as we explored this drama. If you enjoyed this reaction and review, please remember to subscribe for more insightful videos. Don't forget to like this video and share your thoughts in the comments below. Your feedback helps our channel grow. As always, I'm truly grateful for your support and for joining me on this journey on the Review Garden. Until next time, and happy listening. Bye.